how's everybody doing? Welcome back to That Podcast. Yep. Video Watchdog, episode 69, dude. Oh man, my favorite magazine, my favorite genre mag, favorite movie and TV genre mag. Love it. It's gone now, but I got a stack of these to go through. New Beach Party DVDs. Fulci, Pitch Black, Kawandai, Dunwich Horror Store, X-Men. Blood and Black Lace. This is March of 2001. As you probably know, just before the holidays, VCI Home Video released Mario Bava's The Whip in the Body and Blood and Black Lace on DVD. Okay, who we got working on this? We got Tim Lucas, I know, Kim Newman, I know, Richard Harlan Smith, and Douglas E. Winter. There's some Just Franco stuff on DVD. The Whip in the Body, Hercules, and Hercules. For a while, someone has been auctioning DVDs of Hercules and Hercules Unchained on eBay with a starting bid of $7.99. Although there is no mention of letterboxing, and since other sites like Amazon.com don't list these films as being available on DVD, we decided to win an auction and see what these things were. Both DVDs are indeed pan and scan transfers. That caveat aside, on the whole, we're quite pleased with them considering the low price. They're on different labels. Hercules on Sterling Home Entertainment. I don't think Sterling's around anymore. And Unchained on Gemstone Entertainment, though the external packaging suggests they were indeed produced by the same company. As discussed in the Video Watchdog book, there are two different English versions of Hercules. The dub that came out on home video from Embassy Home Entertainment circa 1985, opening with white titles on a red background marked with stencils of Hercules' various labors, is the original English dub prepared in Italy. It's more literate in some ways, and though we preferred it for some time for this reason, we now regard it as inferior. The dialogue never fits the lip movement of the actors, and nearly all the male voices are supplied by one actor. Brett Morrison, the last man to play the Shadow on radio. Joseph E. Levine detested this soundtrack and produced his own in New York with a wider range of vocal talent and improved sound effects. This version begins with an animated title sequence of the Hercules constellation and a bolt of lightning and moves much of the original title sequence to the end. For this version, the voice actors spoke lines that are identical to the English lines spoken on set. The director of the soundtrack was also an expert at writing English songs that seemed to match the lip movement of the actors speaking Italian. Oh, okay, see, that's what they tell you if stuff was worth the shit. Okay, here we go. Beowulf from Dimension. Bearing little resemblance to the classic 6th century poem, the Sword and Sorcery debacle is from the producers of the Mortal Kombat films, a lineage its relentless techno soundtrack never allows one to forget. A haunted stranger with a destiny fulfilled. Beowulf, Christopher Lambert, finds the object of his quest in a kingdom that is being systematically ravaged by the strange, elusive Grendel. Said beast previously claimed its victims only at night, but has become more brazen and critically injures Beowulf in their first encounter. However, the warrior possesses amazing recuperative powers and manages to severely wound Grendel on their next bout, but a more ancient evil still remains to be surmounted. Set in a seemingly post-apocalyptic future that blends different periods and influences, Beowulf offers equally interchangeable characters, no suspense, and cheesy man-in-suit monster and director Graham Baker alienation the final conflict, while it keeps it skewered as often as possible. Garbed in black leather and sporting close-cropped white hair, Lambert gives his usual impassive performance, while heroine Rona Mitra, whose claim to fame she serves as a human model for Lara Croft in the Tomb Raider video game. No, she's done movies since then. Conveys emotion by staring blankly in space with her mouth hanging open. The rest cast no better. Would you believe that Night Court's Charles Robinson, Mac, as a weapons master? Richard Mall, perhaps, with Mac the Bailiff? And practically everyone has a different accent, making the players seem even more crazy quilt than the props and costumes. The action sequences do a dismal job of aping Hong Kong choreography, and the ultimate evil Playboy playmate Layla Roberts looks like something out of a Twisted Sister video before changing into a CGI creature so pitiful and unconvincing it sets the technology back 10 years. Wow. Although it hit Asian and European theaters in 1999, Dimension has widely premiered Beowulf in North America on video. Although they took their time about it, the film was issued an MPAA rating in 1998. And not bound to include a 5.1 mix on DVD. Regardless, the stereo is still thunderous when it needs to be, and who would want this soundtrack to have any more presence? The picture looks as good as the film was designed to look with its relentlessly low-key lighting and dreary exteriors. The closed caption is exhausted. The somewhat more attractive anamorphic DVD presents the film at 1.83 to 1 and includes an international trailer, a useless featurette, and video trailers for Scream 3 from Dusk Till Dawn 3 and Highlander the Final Dimension, coupled with With the atrocious man attraction, this is not much of an enticement for the asking price. I had never heard of this film. And quite a few years ago, I was wanting Beast Smasher on DVD. It was out of print. That nice Blu-ray from Vinegar was not out yet. And a box set from Echo that had this and like Warriors of Virtue 2 and some other bullshit. I got it and watched it. It's kind of like a steampunk Beowulf. It's really interesting. It's not great, but it's interesting. Okay, we got a stack of martial arts films from Tai Sing. We got The Deadly Sword, The Last Duel, and The Shaolin Brothers. I don't know a lot about those. We got The Dunwich Horror from MGM. Heavy Metal 2000, also known as Heavy Metal Fact 2. This is the animated one with Julie Strain. Hellraiser Inferno. Oh, man. Look at that picture. All right, let's read this. The fifth entry in the Hellraiser franchise owes a greater depth to contemporary serial killer thrillers like The Silence of the Lambs and Seven than to Clive Barker's original. Cricket detective Joseph Thorne, Nightbreed's Craig Sheffer, investigates the homicide of a former classmate who was found gruesomely mutilated in what appears to be some kind of occult murder. A child's severed finger concealed inside a can and the lament configuration are among the clues found on the scene, and curious Thorne accidentally solves the puzzle box. He then suffers through a terrified vision in which Pinhead and the Cenobites invade his home. But was it really a nightmare? A prostitute Thorne picked up the night before turns up dead, with another child's fingers near her body, and Detective Snitch is soon found with most of his back torn away, with yet another bloody digit nearby. Thorne is also experiencing other unaccountable visions, which furnish specific details about the murders that he could not possibly know. Arousing the suspicion of his partner, Nicholas Turturro, playing a slightly dimmer version of his NYPD Blue character. Okay, I know who that is. The one constant in all this horror is the brutal, enigmatic figure called the Engineer that no one has ever seen in person, in flesh. Director Scott Derrickson, making his feature debut, creates and maintains a somber, ominous atmosphere, and the makeup augmented this time with some middling CGI work is spectacularly gruesome as ever. Sheffer is effectual, and James Remar puts in a nice low-key supporting turn as a police psychiatrist priest. Unfortunately, the plot builds to a resolution so lacking in imagination and shot value negates these assets. There's also a glaring conceptual problem here. Why is this even a Hellraiser movie? Dimension was rightfully criticized for recutting Hellraiser Bloodline and forcefully inserting additional footage of Pinhead to the detriment of the finished project. This time, they've gone the opposite route, reducing the horror icon to special guest appearance status, and the other Cenobites are largely just ornate ciphers. There are two new female creatures who take heavy pain to gruesome extremes, and Chatterer now has no lower body, stalking his victims like a monstrous Johnny Eck. Oh, God. Johnny Eck is the guy from the movie Freaks that has no lower body. The creators of this chapter clearly want to expand their audience beyond the series fan base. The Improv is not successful enough to make the production of interest to anything more than a niche audience. Meanwhile, the relegation of Pinhead to the sidelines and a complete comparative lack of gore is all but guaranteed to alienate the faithful. The lesson to be gleaned from all this is simple. You can only go back to the well so many times before it dries up. Taking a new circuitous route isn't going to replenish it. The transfer of this direct-to-video production boasts crisp contrast. Though the fairly basic stereo mix is indicative of the film's modest budget, the closed caption is good. The overpriced anamorphic DVD presents the film matted to 1.80 to 1 and comes with an interview in which Bradley speaks quite eloquently about the experience of playing Pinhead. At 5 minutes and 8 seconds, it provides more screen time than he gets in the future. Well, yeah. He actually has about as much screen time in this film as he did in the original. And that was one of the complaints I remember people having with this film when it came out. Was, oh, Pinhead's barely in. I'm like, have you seen the original? Pinhead's barely in that. The film was not about the Cenobites, so you mouth breathers like, oh, Pinhead's cool as fuck. That's what I want to see. I remember somebody telling me, oh man, it sucks. Horror's better when it's all. It's like, holy shit, this is amazing. All right, blah, 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 blah. There is also a brief bit needlessly broken up before chapters with makeup effect creator Gary J. Tunliff talks about his work, as well as trailers for Hellraiser Bloodline, with the Hollywood Pictures logo inexplicably added to begin in the Scream Trilogy box set. I love Hellraiser 5. In my mind, it's my second favorite of the run after the first. This is what I think if Barker had been allowed to keep on doing this. It feels like a story from the Marvel Comics epic line Hellraiser comic made into a movie. Komodo. Is that the... Oh, okay, here we go. Cody LL, check this out. Listen to this shit. Komodo and Octopus. Thanks to the surprise success of Anaconda, the nature runs amok subgenre is returning a big way with these direct-to-video efforts being the latest up here. By the time you read this, Toby Hooper's Crocodile will be available. So maybe that's why I mix up Komodo and Crocodile. That's kind of an in-joke with me and Cody. I always mix up with creature features, so people are like, man, was it Python? No, man, it's fucking Crocodile. That ain't how Cody sounds. Cody sounds more country than that and doesn't cuss as much as me. And Cody, don't argue. You do sound, dude, you grew up in the country like I did. You sound country. Ain't nothing wrong with that. My Son the Vampire from Image Entertainment, also known as Mother Riley Meets the Vampire, Vampire Over, London's the Sky. Arthur Lucan, who played Mother Riley, a cross-dressing role, played a straight note, supposed to be a female, actual female, meeting up with old Bella. The Sinister Monk. This is one. It's a crime. Edgar Wallace crime, which is like a crime film. This is one I want to see, but as far as I know, the only way to get it is through something weird video, and I'm not paying what they want. But it looks interesting. I mean, look at that picture. That looks like something to be fun to watch. The Watcher in the Attic. Okay. Tapes from the Attic, reviewing the Lost Arcane and Out of Print. The Legend of Spider Forest. Nothing about that one. The Pix. Oh, I don't know anything about it. Beach Party Tonight. Now, my parents are into films. They're into cinema. My mom's not as much into films as me and my dad. My dad, he has, since he's gotten, I got them a Roku and he has Netflix, he gets up every morning between 5 and 7. Unless he has something to do right then, he'll sit there for 2 to 3 hours, sometimes 4 or 5, according to how long it takes for my mother to get up, watching movies on Netflix. He loves movies. I do too. My mother would never read Video Watchdog. When I got this issue and she sat down and read this article because she loves the Neptune and Chill and Frankie Avalon's beach movies. I saw them as a kid, and I can remember going to the theaters as I was a teen. Yeah, I don't think I was even a teenager when Back to the Beach came out. And it's hard to explain the phenomenon of American International Beach Party series to someone who wasn't around at the time of their original release. Often described as teenage films, I can't attest to how well they spent the teenagers of the time. They're for an inland preteen like myself. This is Tim Lucas writing this. He's from, is it Cleveland? Cincinnati, Ohio. For an inland preteen like myself, these films offered a wonderful fantasy of what one's teenage years might be like. Annette Funicello already knew, like the rest of America, from the Mickey Mouse Club, the Misadventures of Merlin Jones and its sequel, The Monkey's Uncle. But our beach party co-stars are some of the first things I can remember committed to memory in the hallowed darkness of a movie theater. Frankie Avalon, Harvey Limbeck, Candy Johnson, that exuberant fringe line go-go dancer known as Miss Perpetual Motion. Donna Lauren, John Ashley, Bobby Shaw, Jody McRae, Aaron Kincaid, even Buster Keaton and Don Rickles. The fact that Frankie and Annette were later successfully reteamed in homage to the series over 20 years later, 1987's Back to the Beach. Okay, I was a teenager probably a teenager by the time they came out. Proves that the cultural impact makes the series all more deserving of our fond regard. These are these Laserdisc? No, this got to be DVD. DVD release of Beach Party, Bikini Beach, Pajama Party, How to Stuff a Wild Bikini. And isn't there one more? No, that's it. Okay, then we're going to get to our DVD reviews. And then there were none. Don't know a lot about it. 40s, Agatha Christie. We got City of the Living Dead, which I saw Gates of Hell, and The Beyond, which I originally saw 7 Doors at. Full chi, baby, full chi. Gates of Hell is Anchor Bay. The Beyond is Anchor Bay. There's better versions out now. These, along with Zombie, are not only Fulci's best known movies, probably his best. I think The Beyond is probably the best thing he ever did, with Gates of Hell being close second and Zombie being in third. And you see they did a lot of Exorcist 3, the best of the Exorcist films. The Gruesome Twosome, one of the H.G. Lewis films. Kawanden. Necromantic. Oh God, we slurping the eyeball. Oh God. Okay, Necromantic. Let me tell a little story about Necromantic. Back in the day, I had a buddy of mine on the coast. And he had a fairly big house. It was 3 full bedrooms, big ass living room. And he was one of these guys, he's in his 20s. He kind of worked off and on. He owned a house to make sure he made money. He rented out rooms in the house. $25 to $50 a week, according to how much he liked you. And just had an antenna, no cable. So a lot of time was spent. For a while, he didn't even have an antenna. Or like he had rabbit ears, she only picked up. A lot of time was spent watching VHS. Well, when I came back from the service, I would go rent movies. At least a couple times a week, I go rent a couple movies, bring over, we sit there and watch and hang out and all that. Have a couple of beer, whatever, you know. One night, I came in with a copy of, there's a video store in Pascagoula, Mississippi, right next to where Food World used to be. And this video store is a non-chain. It was known for having, the owner must have been into oddball cinema because he'd have the great shit. He'd have, you go in there and he'd have like all the John Waters films. We got Pink Flamingos, which none of us had seen. I got Meet the Feebles, the Peter Jackson Muppet kind of movie, which nobody had really seen. And I got Necromantic. And the guy, when I was renting him, was like, oh man, he goes, he knew me well, knew whatever. He's like, okay, Necromantic gets a little rough. That movie made quite a few people leave the room. It's a German film. It's this guy fucks corpses. Pitch Black. I have never seen all of Pitch Black. I've seen one of the Riddick films. I've never seen all of Pitch Black. Heard it's good. What brought Vin Diesel to the public eye? 7 Days in May. I don't know anything about that failsafe. She-Devils on Wheels. Is that a Herschel Gordon Lewis? The Shooting and Ride the Whirlwind. These Monty Hellman westerns. The Stuff from Larry Cohen. A Taste of Blood from Something Weird. Another Herschel Gordon Lewis. Touch of Evil. That's the Orson Welles film. X-Men. Here we go. Bryan Singer's X-Men, which distills nearly 40 years of labyrinthine continuity in 104 surprising coherent minutes, is the first Marvel Comics derived film, aside from the marginal Blade. Fuck you, Blade was good and Howard the Duck, motherfucker. That looks like a franchise spinning hit after mess ups like Captain America, The Punisher, and Howard the Duck, and New Horizon Concord's unreleased The Fantastic Four. X-Men finally puts a Stan Lee, Jack Kirby superhero soap opera epic sci-fi formula that has dominated comics in the early 1960s on screen. And man, whoa! X-Men was not a big seller back in the 60s. I hate that. No, X-Men was like one of the lower selling titles. And a man that holds his weight against Depression-era franchises like Superman and the Batman films, and funky indie newcomers like The Crow, The Mask, and Spawn. Not the least of Singer's achievements is that he avoids almost entirely the drift and camping quiche that derails most superhero movies. The first 20 minutes are an exemplary exercise in selling the audience a premise, so that the arrival of flying or zapping folks in black leather costumes to tussle with ugly villains and flamboyant tights manages to evoke the fun and excitement of comics while surrendering to the negative connotation of the term comic bookish. The title sequence mimics the opening of Fight Club as Patrick Stewart explains the concept of evolution through mutation over an inside look at DNA spiral. Yeah, Bryan Singer, not as well liked anymore. There's Hugh Jackman. This guy Hugh Jackman, known to most people in the States. Famke Janssen. Rebecca Romaine Stamos as Mystique. Yes, I know. Oh, God. Jennifer Lawrence took over. I like Rebecca Romaine better. Yeah, they did reviews and imports. Am I a Nymphomaniac? Am I Frigid? Why am Pussy Talk? That's the name of the film, Pussy Talk. We're getting to the back here. We got Audio Watchdog. What do they got in this? They got a couple of soundtracks. The books is Vampire Over London, Bela Lugosi in Britain. Excuse me. And there are letters. And the letters are always good. You got good information. Listen to this one. Once Upon a Time on TV. And look, I always got a picture of somebody reading the letter. There's Annette with her helmet hair. I received Video Watchdog number 67 the other day and was quite interested to read that Monty Hellman directed the prologue for ABC's airing of A Fistful of Dollars. The origin and background of this bit of film has long been a mystery. It would be interesting to find out more details from Hellman, who at ABC came up with this idea and why there was a reason for shooting in Mexico, etc. The flip side of John Mullins' commentary on Fistful in his book Big Bad Wolves is a review of MGM United Artists Letterboxd Lasers. I read back in the early to mid 90s. I think Widescreen Review criticizing the MGM UA Fistful Lasers being cut down or incomplete because it did not include the ABC prologue, which the reviewer obviously assumed was part of the original film. For something that was aired one time, it sure made an impression. And they just talk about, just different stuff. Tomorrow's Bava book that didn't come out for a while, and then we got the back cover. I love Video Watchdog. I got to get some more issues. Matter of fact, you know what? I got a birthday coming up in July. I think that's what my birthday present will be. I'm going to get, $50 worth of Video Watchdog. Because one thing I'll throw out there, I love how the internet has changed shopping for me. Back when I was younger, once I got old enough for people were asking me, hey, what do you want for your birthday? What do you want for Christmas? You know, I had to tell them, okay, I want this. You got to go to this store. They'll have it. And that kind of limited you. Now with the internet, I put an Amazon wish list. What do you want for your birthday? Boom, here's my wish list. The only drawback to that is my parents will not go on a lot. So for my mother, it's like, okay, what do you want for your birthday? Well, here's your credit card. Here's your limit to buy yourself some stuff. That's what I do. So I'll probably do that one. I'm out, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, all the other bullshit. Talk to everybody later. Bye-bye.